Good evening. Just a wrap up of the City Council meeting for the City of Grand Rapids for Tuesday, October 14, 2014. There was no work session this evening, but we did have our third of four public hearings on the local sales tax and the development of the 2015 preliminary budget for the City of Grand Rapids. All went very well. Under the consent agenda, the city awarded sale of some general obligations bonds, Series 2014, actually $3 million worth of A1 rated bonds to the United Bankers Bank. We had a change order at the YMCA, the Active Living Center. We went through a change order there with the parking lot reconstruction. We also had a change order number 2 with the safe routes to school at the Murphy and the middle schools. We got an amount of a credit of $900 for a day of liquidated damages. The city approved under consent agenda approval of the subordination agreement between the Grand Rapids State Bank and Glenn's Army Navy. The city also adopted a resolution authorizing the Arts and Culture Commission to accept donations for use in publicizing community input surveys. And we're also recognizing Minnesota Citizens for the Arts for 40 years of advocating arts in Minnesota. And we did have some minor changes to the City Council bylaws, one of which actually came into effect this evening. We are going to be having a public hearing coming up on the 10th of November. Public hearings now can start at 5:30 versus 6 o'clock. So keep that in mind, that public hearings going out into the future will be starting at 5:30 versus 6 o'clock. They can always be later, but they cannot come earlier. Tonight's department head report was by Jeff Davies. Talk a little bit about Public Works. Public Works currently has about, I think it's 17 employees. If you go back about 10 or 11 years, Public Works encompassed not only Public Works, but the airport and the cemetery. And from 17 that we currently have, they at that time had 16 and a half plus 3 at the cemetery, 3 at the airport. So they've actually, through technology and innovation, have decreased the number of city staff that's covering those 3 divisions. Finance Department, Barb Baird brought forward on behalf of Northland Counseling public hearing that's going to be discussing November 10th. That's the 5:30 meeting. The city being used as a conduit to do some purchasings of some bonds for Northland Counseling. It allows them to get a better rate and to go through the city under theirs. The city is not obligated on these bonds. They just provide the conduit so that Northland Counseling can get that lower 501c3 rate. Under a golf course, we authorized Bob Cahill out there to pick up a couple of new club cars at a reduced rate for next year. Buying them this year, going to save the golf course about $2,700 in doing that. Then we approved with the tax laws, some vehicles are and some vehicles aren't exempt from sales tax. We approved a purchase of a vehicle in the Public Works Department. We assumed back this spring that it would be exempt and we would not have sales tax, but in order to have it licensed, we found out that it had to pay a sales tax, so we went back and we authorized that the city would pay $2,257.77 to Ranger Chevrolet, who paid the sales tax in order to license that vehicle for us. We paid the bills, and then we had a public hearing this evening that consisted of the assessments on Crystal Lake Boulevard. That's a finalized project out there now, so we did have that public hearing. We did not have anyone in attendance, as Julie Kennedy, our city engineer, did a great job of explaining. Over the course of the project, she went out and had 10 specific meetings along with phone calls with a lot of the individuals in the benefit area, so that as a lot of times you're happy when they don't have any questions or concerns coming in. Tonight was one of those occasions. With all the legwork that she'd done on the front end, I think it paid off on the back end, and that we did not have anyone here questioning what and why the expenses were. I would also just like to finish up letting people know that on Saturday, October 18th will be the leaf pickup in Grand Rapids for waste management. So if you're in the waste management area or within the city limits of Grand Rapids, get your leaves out on the street, and they will be picked up on the 18th. I believe it'll probably start in the morning and probably go all day in order to get everything done. Looking forward to seeing everyone once again. Tomorrow night is the final of the public hearings on the budget development and the local sales tax. Please get out, or encourage folks to get out if you want to hear more information on that local sales tax. It's at Southwest School starting at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. City staff will be there to answer questions as well as the council. Have a good evening and thanks.